Hey gang, it's JC and this is the Daily Dose for Monday, April 18th, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We have some great archives with old television history up at the top of the page, the Wayback Machine of the Video Village, and then of course right below what you're looking at right now is your eye candy feature. We'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes. I'm going to say a few words about Steve Mizrarini. I got here in May of 1984, and one of the first people I met was Steve Mizrarini. He came on the show. He was wandering around the station doing something back in the old KSHE 95 days and the old Quonset hut down on Watson Road in Crestwood. And this guy, I mean, they just broke the mold after they made Steve Mizrarini. And he was a very complicated guy, because on one hand he had this public persona, and I think he really felt they had to live up to it and that there was an expectation, stuff like that. But you get him alone and he was really a really funny and gentle and kind guy. And then as far as his business practices were concerned, I heard varying reports. Let's just leave it at that. But this is, I mean, you need people like this in a community to keep things from getting boring. And to Veronica, his daughter, who I've gotten to know a little bit over the years, we're going to miss your dad. He was, as I said, one of a kind, and you need those one of a kind guys every once in a while. There's a full moon tonight. Doesn't look like we're going to see it. I mention this because my daughter, who's now 19 months old, actually will be 19 months in a couple of days, has become obsessed with the moon. We're out strolling around at night and stuff like that. She's constantly looking up at that whole thing, so get ready for that. Tony La Russa at his press conference yesterday, he always does one of these quick little things. Now it's a little more formal when he's here at Busch Stadium and you got the set and the whole thing and the podium and the microphones already built in and a little arena almost set up. And then, but they're on the road, they don't have that. But it just flashed by very, very quickly last night. But what was on Tony's face? I don't know if you saw this or not, but he had some giant rash that took up one whole side of his forehead, and then his right eye was swollen and half closed. He looked like Matthew Broderick in Election. I expected him to yell out, "Adrian!" Why, the shingles? I mean, you get stung in the face by a bee? Ugh, it's icky stuff. I want to know what that crap is on his face before I get near him again. To the woman who was driving the BMW SUV on Saturday afternoon with the St. Joe's Academy and St. Clement's bumper stickers on her rear windshield, who was driving like a maniac and texting at the same time, you're a very dangerous person. Okay? Let's just leave it at that. And I was at Costco on Saturday, and I've talked about this before. When I used to do those editorial pieces, those little essays on Fox 2, I talked about this. I don't know what's going on in our country's shopping center parking lots, but somebody like backs out of a stall in a Costco and then just guns it. I mean, give yourself a chance in traffic court when you have run over a child and you're up for murder charges. You won't be in traffic court then. You'll be in a much more serious court. And when you have to tell the judge why you were doing 47 miles an hour in a parking lot of a Costco, I just don't understand. People just gunning it. I mean, do you know how easy it is for a small child, and not even a small child, I mean any person, to just sort of, you're disoriented, you're looking for your car, you're walking back and putting your shopping cart away. The very few people who even bother to do that anymore, I'll get to that in a minute. And you get, you run somebody over just because they're disoriented. You're at a tremendous advantage when you're driving a 2,000-pound chunk of steel and somebody is wandering through a parking lot. I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what everybody's in such a goddamn hurry about. Yeah, and then the shopping carts. When they are not left right in the stalls, or when somebody doesn't unload their shopping cart and then just leave it there to roll down a hill and just take a chunk out of the side of your car, and then people hold up traffic in the entire lane of a parking lot to get a parking space that is 25 feet closer to the door than the one that they just drove past. I always say, hey, if I was at Busch Stadium looking for a parking space and I got that space, even if it was, 2 blocks away, I'd be going, man, what a great parking space. So you just have to sort of adjust your, why am I bothering? Nobody's. Oh, boy. People like Donald Trump and Sarah Palin could use a lesson in bravery, because while they are just really sort of tied up doing these softball interviews most of the time on Fox News. There's a guy by the name of Michael Steele, who is the former Republican National Committee chair. And this guy might be one of the bravest people in America because he will go on any show. He went on Bill Maher on Friday night, completely engulfed by, sort of hostile fire. And that son of a bitch sat there and he answered questions and he made his case. He got laughed at, he was ridiculed, he was jeered. A couple of times, the guy just simply did not make his case and really, really set himself up for ridicule. And then the rest of the time, actually did a pretty damn good job of stating his case for the Republican Party. I don't agree with it, but I'm just looking at the guy going, this seriously might be one of the most brave people in America. And I have tremendous admiration for this guy. So, the Michael Steeles are out there laying it out there, and the Sarah Palins and the Donald Trumps are hiding because they're cowards and they're pussies and they know it. All right, let's move on to the news here. Today is tax day. Phone sex operators need tax write-offs too. Apparently, they can write off the props that they use during calls. That includes, and you're going to think I'm making this up, and I'm not. This comes from Reuters. That includes yogurt. And when I read that, I was like, yogurt? What? Phone sex operator? Yogurt? Yeah, they use it to make squishing sounds. Lollipops used to make sucking noises. And cushions, whoopee cushions, they use to make realistic sex noises. And you can, if you're a phone sex operator, you can write all that stuff off. And by the way, if you're a stripper, listen to this. You can write off your breast implants. However, there's a catch. And again, you're going to think I'm making this up, and this comes from AOL News. This is like real stuff here, okay? Anything larger than 800 cc's of silicone is considered a working breast. The Internal Revenue Service of the United States of America has designated something called a working breast, and that's anything larger than 800 cc's of silicone because it's much too large for everyday wear. Anything smaller would probably fall under what is referred to as the housewife rule. The housewife rule. It's 2011. And they said they consider those, and it says here, everyday boobs. It takes roughly 200 cc's to go up one cup size, so a stripper would have to go up at least 4 cup sizes to be eligible for write-offs. Man, there's stuff in this country I don't understand anymore. Nicolas Cage arrested in New Orleans, bailed out by Dog the Bunny Hunter, domestic abuse suspicion. Sounds about right. Kim Kardashian says she's obsessed with a hairless body. She got her first bikini wax at age 12. Sounds about right. Natalie Portman's dance double from Black Swan is still out there claiming that she did most of the dancing work, and now there's a chick who claims she was actually the one who jumped in the lake for Natalie in the now infamous thong scene in the new comedy Your Highness. This is one of these deals where Natalie Portman looked like she was just on a friggin' roll, and now it's all unraveling. Brooke Mueller back in rehab. Charlie Sheen's ex. Sounds about right. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice is going to guest star on 30 Rock before the end of the season as an ex-girlfriend of Alec Baldwin's character. Meantime, HBO has picked up a comedy series called Veep, as in V-E-E-P, starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus as the Vice President of the United States. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. I know this has been talked about before, but somebody really figured out a way to illustrate this. You look at Barbie, and when Barbie's like, this, 14 inches or whatever she is, it's sort of like, okay, how's that going to harm somebody? But the truth of the matter is the dimensions, the physical dimensions are so, I was going to use the word unrealistic, but the truth is they're absolutely absurd. In fact, if Barbie was 6 feet tall, and they're really cutting this story a break by making Barbie 6 feet tall, because if she was the average size of the average woman, which I think in this country is about something like 5'4", 5'6", or something like that. But anyhow, Barbie was 6 feet tall. Her measurements would be 39, 18, 33. And someone built a life-size version for a conference on eating disorders, and then they had a normal woman just stand next to her. And I have the picture on Eye Candy. It's right below what you're looking at right now. And if you're a guy, seriously, look at this Barbie and ask yourself, would you be interested in being with this person who, to me, looks like an absolute freak of nature, or would you take the girl next to her? And then I realized there's a big chunk of the male population out there would say, no, I'll take the freak of nature. I'll take the one with the 18-inch waist and the 39-inch boobs. Who, from the way I'm looking at this right now, it almost looks like maybe the girl's back would give out after about 30 seconds because she would not actually be able to physically support her body weight, which is so ridiculously top heavy. So I don't know, maybe the answer is most guys would still take the Barbie for the first 10 minutes and then shift over to the other girl. Anyhow, the picture is right there for you to look at on JC's. Look at that. I mean, have you ever seen anything ridiculous in your life? Look at this. And then the girl next to her is just sort of smirking at her. Anyhow, that's our eye candy feature. You can get a better look at it when you go right below what you're looking at right now. All right, that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Monday, April 18th, 2011, a combined venture of Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.